Hey.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the technical difficulties episode of the podcast, episode number 7. We today have a guest from Riot Games. I'll note that he is not he's not a TFT developer. He's not on the TFT team, but he is someone that had a lot of involvement in the auto chess scene through Team Liquid as well as through QIHL. If you were ever on the QIHL Discord or website. He's Riot Aleco. Welcome to the show, Aleco.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Um, Aleco. Uh, oh yeah. Also, just to note, he's really good at the game. He's queen in auto chess. I'm not sure what rank he is right now in TFT, but he's really good. So, Aleco, I'm going to ask you the two questions. Also, Pheylop, I think I'm hearing echo through you.
Let me put on headphones.
Okay, cool. Aleco, I'll ask two things to you. First of all, how's your TFT climb going? And just how's TFT going in general? Once Pheylop gets back, it'll be fixed. And also, how did you choose your name, sir? As we ask each guest every week. Who am I hearing echo through? I'm hearing echo through someone.
It's fine, dude. It's fine, dude.
Well, the viewers might not like.
I don't think it'd be me. I think it's the headphones. So
I got headphones as well.
Okay.
the name question's easy. Let me jump right into that one. I'm just uncreative. Aleco is my real name.
Oh, okay. Well, good to know. I didn't know that.
Name. Yeah. So yeah, that one's a freebie. And the climb's going all right. I was like hard stuck plat 1 for a second. But we're back up in diamond now. We're climbing,
Okay.
so it's going good. I haven't had quite as much time to play as I want, which between the lines, what that really means is I'm not able to play 12 hours a day since I have a job. But it's going good. I'm hoping it's steadily progressing. I'm hoping to get like the end of the week, the masters range is my goal right now.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So you might have noticed Pheylop is not in his normal place. Pheylop is traveling. I forget where exactly he is, but he's traveling. Pheylop, how's your traveling going, and also how's your TFT com going? We can't even hear him.
He's muted, dude. Perfect, man. You're muted, Pheylop.
This is great.
It's going super well.
Yeah.
I'm winning every game.
I'm a silver 2 right now. I'm pretty good. 300 games. We're climbing.
Oh, we're back to this screen.
Alright, it's fine, dude. I'll talk about my climb.
Yeah, let's hear from
Okay,
Rens.
am
Oh,
I good?
Oh, he's here.
let's hear from
right.
Pheylop.
Hey.
Alright, I'm
What
gonna
up,
try
dude?
to get through this before it starts cutting out. I'm sorry for my technical difficulties.
That's
I'm currently in a hotel in Ohio. I'm going to Gen Con for the week, so I've driven 9 hours today. I brought all my podcast stuff just so I could still do this, but everything's fighting me. My climb has been okay. I want to leave with Grandmaster 100 points. I do not have 100 points. I have like 20-something points. But that still means the climb has been okay.
Mhm.
And like it could be worse, right? Like I think it took us all a little bit to hit Grandmaster, but I'm glad that no one got stuck and left behind as far as the open fork goes, at least.
Pepe, it's Aleco. He'll get there. He was queen and he was
I
queen
mean,
in DSC. He
he's
was
played
really good.
way less games than we have.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, I checked yesterday. It was about half. I was curious, like what the game count was for all y'all.
Yeah, you have a bit more commitments than we do. Yeah, so Rens, how's it going for you? How's it over in EU?
pretty good. I finally hit Master as well. Like I was hard stuck Diamond 1 for like 50 to 60 games. It was insane. I went from 80 LP to 0 LP to then to 20, 30, 40, 50, 0. I
Get
went
the
to
1-8.
Diamond 2 like one time, and in all my 50 games I was just Diamond 1 the whole time. Super annoying, it was super tilting, but I finally got there. A few high roll games, and it's all it needed. And yeah, and then in the meantime we're playing on NA a bit, forcing some different comps. And yeah, it's been pretty good. Been really fun. I'm happy. Like last week, none of us were masters, I think.
Yeah.
And like we had Hydra, I think, and he was master, so
Yeah.
kind of felt really bad about that. So at least before Challenger came out, we were at least all master, so that's good. That's
Yesterday was such a good day for me. I climbed like over 100 LP, and then today's been pretty poor. Like I was at 15th, and now I'm down to like probably 80th or 90th. They tanked like probably 80 LP today. Feels bad.
How much LP do you have right now?
40 or 50? So yeah.
not bad. It's not bad.
Anyway, Aleco, I want to ask you some questions about back when you're getting into your gaming scene. Like in general, like I'm just curious, how did you get involved into gaming? I don't know if you have involvement in esports, but just involvement in gaming in general. Obviously, you were working at Riot now. You worked at Team Liquid in the past. I'd like to hear about how you got into that. I'm curious before we get into the TFT discussion.
Yeah, sure. So, gaming has just always been my number one hobby. Like, it's always just been the thing I'd like to do in my spare time. And so when I got to college and I started getting into computer science, like that was the major I knew I wanted to do. It felt pretty natural that I wanted to try to make games or be a game developer. So that's what I tried to do for like my first couple of years, like when I was right out of college. And it actually didn't work out. Like I started a little indie studio and I made a board game, but like none of them were commercial successes whatsoever. So
I'm into board games.
No, board games are great. We could talk.
Yeah. Not on this show. Not on this show. I would talk for hours.
Guys, I'm literally going to Gen Con. Come on.
But then, so I got away from it for a bit, and I started doing some other stuff that was non-related to games, and I was just so unhappy. Like I hated my job. I was like waking up every day, just regretting existing and doing the work I was doing. So I quit completely what I was doing. I was being a recruiter for a while, which is like mostly like a talkie job and had nothing to do with video games.
Yeah.
And just started writing. I felt like one of the things that I'd gotten good feedback on in my life was my writing ability, and I knew I wanted to be doing stuff about games, so I wrote about games, and things actually kind of like took off a little bit faster than I expected. I was able to get a job at Icy Veins, which was I'll call it objectively the #1 fan site for Blizzard and Blizzard related games, and I was doing stuff for mostly about Hearthstone, but for all their stuff there. And then I was able to turn that into a job at Team Liquid when Artifact came out.
Okay.
So I was actually working with Hyped, who was on the show a couple times ago, I think.
Yep.
And all the time, because he was like Team Liquid signed him to be like the Artifact guy, and he still is the Artifact GOAT. I don't know if that got brought up on the last time, but he killed it at Artifact. But obviously the game didn't have a lot of long-term.
Game also killed it.
Artifact.
Yeah. So right when Artifact was kind of on the downtrend was when DAC was on the uptrend. And
Right.
So, I was full-time Team Liquid at this time. I was running the Artifact website. I was like, hey guys, we need to get on this auto chess hype train. This thing's looking like it might go somewhere. So we just made like a whole new site using the same platform. And that's how I got involved with QIHL, because Team Liquid and QIHL like formed a partnership, and that's how I met all y'all.
That's awesome.
All of us were talking in the Discord channel for quite some time about various QIHL related things. So
that's fun.
So my path towards actually like working at a game development studio was kind of weird, because like I started out doing it like right out of college, didn't work out. Then I just did writing. Like I just wrote about it for a while on the internet, and that's what was able to turn into the job at Riot.
Do you use your CS degree? I know you can't say like about what you do at Riot, but do you use your CS? I'm not saying, but just in general, do you use your CS degree? Do you do coding at all?
Not even slightly.
No. Okay.
I haven't touched a line of code in. I want to say since like 2013 was the last time I programmed like at all. Like I really don't at all. I loved studying it, but yeah, I didn't use my degree whatsoever, and that's actually something that's pretty common. I think that a lot of game developers I talk to, outside of the people who are like in code, obviously that's important there. But
right.
A lot of the people who are not coding, they studied just totally random stuff.
I mean, there's a lot of overlap in terms of gamers and like CS majors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
For
yeah,
sure.
I could definitely see that a lot of people in game development like wouldn't be using that, right? Like, yeah, makes sense. Or just in
What
a
I,
game developer, I should say, not game development, but being out a game developer.
what I'm hearing is that even though I don't know anything about computers, just playing games, I can get a job. That's all I'm hearing.
Yeah, it's
Exactly.
super easy. You just got to be the top like 1% of the 1%, and then you can.
Yeah.
Wait, are you saying
if
that
only playing
Forehead?
games is your job? Yeah.
Just play games. You'll get
Yeah, just play games all day.
there.
Excellent business advice.
Cool.
Okay, yeah, cool. That's awesome. Yeah, no, I ran into you when we started making the website on QHL, and then you started, everyone started yelling at you on QHL that was upset with the website, and you're like, yeah, we have this going and this going, and you kind of maintained everything. Yeah, it was awesome.
Dude, that was a mess, dude. The
Yeah,
first transition. That was a goddamn mess,
Yeah.
dude. Holy
Oh.
moly.
Yeah.
People were upset.
Like,
Jesus
People were
Christ.
real mad that they had to go to use a visual, like
Yep.
a graphical interface to try to find auto test matches as
Dude,
opposed
there
to
was
typing chat
the
commands.
amount of traffic we had on this compared to the site was actually like it was so much lower, and I didn't really get it.
Yeah.
Like it's not that much different, but no, like it was so much lower. I felt like I don't know. The site was so much easier. I don't know.
People don't like
I
change,
don't-
man.
Really good numbers. Like, to be fair,
Change.
like we were putting up some like very impressive viewer numbers when we actually made the migration over. But yeah, I was surprised at how much people were resistant to
Yeah.
the migration from one platform to the other.
Yeah, I didn't really get it either.
there was some specific people that would be there day after day, just upset. Just like, come on, man, just at least give it a try.
The help desk dude was going ham.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Can't find any lobbies, dude, on the Discord. What do I do?
Anyway,
The website?
about Teamfight Tactics, the game that people are here to listen about.
Probably.
Yeah, probably. Maybe they're actually just here to hear about QHL and Auto Chess. Maybe that's
I don't know,
they're
you can
fans
talk
from us
about it.
from then. This is not what we're talking about yet, by the way. It's not quite. I want to talk about what's happening tomorrow. Ranked
Alright,
is coming
cool.
out.
And Challenger.
Yeah,
Ranked is coming out.
yeah, Ranked is coming out. Yeah, Challenger's coming out. Which a bunch of people in grinding for, Rens and Pheylop, me included.
Yep.
Trying to hit a decent rank for Challenger. Here's what's interesting to me, and I don't know, like, I don't know what plans are for this, but there's a lot more spots in Challenger and Grandmaster than there are Master players, because this game isn't
Yeah.
League. As far as I understand, there's 200 or 300 Challenger slots. I don't know which of those, and then 500 slots in Grandmaster. If someone wants to clarify the numbers, I don't know the exact numbers. I think it's that. I think it's 200 or 500. No one's
I'm
aware.
not sure if they're gonna do any different or like I don't know either. But they're probably gonna be like a set number then
Yeah.
as well. For now, it looks like everyone is just Grandmaster. If you hit Master, you get Grandmaster
Yeah.
the day after.
Yeah, and then you can't demote out of it because there's not enough
Yeah,
Grandmasters.
that's so weird to me though. That's like a very weird system. I don't know. There are people with higher MMR, being
Well,
diamond.
So the thing is, like in auto chess, when people hit queen and there was no motivation to keep playing in queen, they would just make another account
Yep.
because the only thing you could do is win and nothing would happen, or lose and then your
Mhm.
rank would drop. So if you let people drop out of GM, people would just hit GM and then stop playing.
That's true.
So
That's true.
I think this is it makes sense when you think about it. Like you want to reward players for that. And the other thing is like it's still tracking
Okay.
what your actual. So there's like your rank and your LP, and then there's like your MMR, which is like a hidden number.
Yeah.
It's still tracking that. That's still going up and down behind the scenes.
Right.
But you don't you feel like you kind of don't deserve the title if you like go on a lose streak of 50 games? I don't know, man. Maybe your patch. Maybe this is not your patch. Maybe you spammed one patch the same comp every time and you got Grandmaster, and now it's different, and now you suck, and you're still there. Like I don't know. Feels kind of weird to me.
Sorry, go ahead.
I just want to see like the one GM streaming games and like and people are looking up like the other MMR players in the game, and they're all like silver 2 or something. And it's just like hilarious.
Still losing.
So true story. One time I hit legend at Hearthstone and then went on such a massive losing streak that I was playing against people who were like rank 7 and rank 8 and rank 9.
That can happen.
Not even like, yeah. So the way I think it would work similarly, it knew that like my MMR was like in that range at this point because I just lost so many games. Imagine like, I don't know if people know how the star system works, but like it was like I got to legend and then I just lost stars all the way down to like 7, 8, or 9. So I was literally like I was like 14k or 15k legend, like the lowest you could possibly be, and I had to like play all the way back up and win all. It was like I had to do 2 legend climbs. So I imagine it would do the same thing here. Like if you just lost like 100 games in a row or something, you'd probably just be playing against people in like bronze and silver.
I guess it is true though. When you hit Grandmaster, you can't lose it. It makes it playing more comfortable, at least. That is true. Like you're not scared of losing the title. But
I mean, you have to look at it this way though. You can cycle out of Grandmaster if you drop it if there are enough people there, and if Master, and you could demote a Master to Diamond.
Yeah.
So once there's enough people, the whole thing's different.
So, okay, I still like the fact that everybody is Grandmaster. I mean, that should change over time. We should get a higher number of Masters over time, right? Like the ladder's not correctly dispersed yet, I imagine. But just like the fact that 200 and 500, I believe those are numbers, are League of Legends numbers, which is a very popular game, like way more popular than I have to imagine the TFT is. That just seems like the wrong numbers to me. Like it feels like it's not as coveted if compared to like in League, right? Because it's a lower percentile. I don't know.
Aren't there like more people playing TFT right now than League, or is it just totally wrong at the moment? Right?
There are more League players than TFT players.
Yeah,
a lot. There are probably more TFT players than you would expect. I can't quote like numbers or anything, but it's really significant.
Wait,
is a staggering number.
Is LOLchess's numbers wrong?
In terms of, so they say for like the number of people who have completed their placement matches. Right. There's a lot of people who aren't playing ranked either.
Right, but that's the number that's relevant for this metric, right?
I guess so. Or at least for this metric.
Yeah.
But yeah, it hasn't quite reached like League in and of itself, but it's like a significant portion of the people who are playing the League client.
Even if you have like 20% of the people who are playing League playing TFT, it's like a ridiculous number.
Yeah.
But then the Grandmaster spots should be like 20% of what League is, kind of, right?
That's what I would think. That it would be proportional.
Yeah.
I mean, Riot is very open to changing the number of slots in these like higher echelon of ranks.
Yeah, they've done it fast.
Originally, Challenger was like 50 players or something, and then like there was like a huge slew of complaints and stuff, and like how it was like too impossible, and people would just like cushion themselves, and then like no one would have motivation to play. So you have to have like enough cycling out, and like I don't know what the perfect answer is, but I'm sure they'll just like play with it until it works.
Okay.
Yeah, I just like I don't want 100% of Master to be Challenger, because then you don't have this, you know. I want a feeling of being of continually competing to be Challenger. Although I understand, like even in League, that's not really the case, right? If you're a top 50 Challenger, you're not competing to be in Challenger, you're competing to be at the top, right? But still, that feeling of like, you know, I'm consistently pressured, right? That's the feeling that you really want in those. I think in those numbered systems, right? Everyone's competing for those slots. I think that feeling is really nice.
I think that feeling is really nice. Like the problem with DAC was that like when you hit Queen, you couldn't really went higher.
Yeah.
Right. You could go a number higher, but you couldn't really go. Like there were 10k queens after a while.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, Queen number 1 is basically the same as Queen number 1000 or something. And
yeah.
I mean, it is not, of course, but it kind of sounds a bit the same, right? At least with this, you have like different titles, which makes it more interesting to play, like at the higher level. And
like particularly,
that's pretty cool.
No one cared if you were 10,000 or 2,000, and right? Like
exactly.
Like that's the big thing. It's like they were all the same thing.
Yeah, I'm just Queen. That's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my big thing about it. I don't know.
We'll see what happens tomorrow.
I mean, I think you guys have to like look at a little bit differently than you guys are, because like you have to remember in League of Legends, I don't think Challenger came out until season 3 when the player base had already established itself. It was just like Diamond, and League originally started with just an MMR system that like kind of just went with the ranks.
Yeah.
So like the fact that we started with Challenger and Master and Grandmaster system, like we have to give it time to populate. So
Sure.
But no one wants to go back to that. Like, or maybe they want to go back to having MMR numbers, but not having like people being distinguished, right? Like that's
I mean, having the MMR number is like my favorite thing ever. But apparently, it was like way too field bads and like any and like
people
just liked it better
Some
that
people
way.
Newer players tend to really not like the number.
Yeah.
The leagues resonate a lot more. So
I'm weird. I think I'm different than most people. I like having both, and I'm actually okay if the MMR's hidden. I like knowing, like, the feeling of promoting to a new division is having goals like that is a big thing to me. Like, I want to be able to have like a set goal a week by week and be like, I want to get to here, and then I want to get to here, and I want to get to here. It gets me to play a lot when I have those goals. And I think that's kind of the whole thought process behind leagues, right? Is that it gives people goals, it gives people feelings of gratification when they promote, right? That's the whole point of it.
absolutely. You know what? They call it like ladder games for a reason, right? You want it to feel like a ladder.
Right.
So if it's just a number that's going up and down, it doesn't. It's really vague. When you have you want it to feel like there's a rung here and a rung here, and you're like climbing up this thing. And sometimes you go down, you're like, ah, shit, and then you gotta climb back up. So it's about like spacing it out so that those little victories are like just far enough apart that they feel meaningful, but not too frequent, so they don't feel very meaningful.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. So that's definitely a part that motivates me too, and I play a lot of ranked games. Like, in Overwatch, for example, I play a lot of Overwatch. Whenever I drop out of plat and I'm in gold, it's like I can't stop.
Yeah.
It's like, what is this? Like I can't just be like a gold league Overwatch player all the time. I'm walking down the street. Someone asks, what league are you in Overwatch? So I'm like, well, I'm in gold right now. No. Like that, I just can't.
It's actually
it was
so funny. Like no one cares about it if you're a gold or plat, but you care so much about that kind of stuff. It's so funny.
Can't help it.
Like,
But if it was like 2,500 to 2,460, like who would care, right?
Right. Yeah.
You wouldn't care either. Yeah.
But like, do you think it's that bad to have it be like, all right, 2,000 is platinum, or like 2,200 is diamond, and so you know where you are as far as a number, but you also know where you are with tiers. But like, I don't know, like, I get what you're saying was of the different tiers, because you'll be like, when someone asks your ranking, you'll be like, oh, but like, and you try, like, the second you think of you think of all the times you like someone tries to explain something to you and you just dismiss them in your head, and you're like, no, I'm the other person. But I don't know. I like having the number and the the where you are. Kind of like, I like how chess is just MMR. So
we used to have that in auto chess, right? In auto chess, for a while, the MMRs were visible to everyone, and you'd have both. You'd be plat 4 with 2,150 MMR, right? You used to have both. It felt good. And you do exactly.
We would ping that side the whole time after a match. How much MMR do I have?
Yeah. How much did I lose? Yeah.
How much did I lose? How much did I win? So funny.
Yeah, there's reasons to do it both ways for sure. I think people like to know the granularity of it, but then people could just get really frustrated if you make changes to the way it works. Like if you want to make significant improvements to like the way that like the matchmaking system works, and what that means is that sometimes you'll gain or lose more depending on a win. And then like you're one of those people who like F5s every time on like lolchess.gg to see like exactly where you go, and you're like, wait a second, I got first yesterday and it was plus 30, but I got first today and it was plus 26.
Yeah.
Veto, please, right? So there's a lot of reasons why you would want to hide it, and a lot of reasons why you wouldn't too.
Well, Aleco, being that you joined Riot in May, I think it only makes sense that you are the sole decision maker on whether the whole league system works based off showing your MMR or not showing your LPs. So I want to say right now, I demand that you change that.
Yeah. That's the only thing they hired me for.
It's really funny because like I feel like we're always like going to be lacking like an entire perspective on the issue, but it's like the three of us are similarly competitive and how we want to feel about the game. So like, like at some point we probably should have like a very casual player like on the show and like just like see what their opinions are and where they differ from ours, because like they'll be like, yeah, I don't even want to see like any ranks. Like I don't even want tiers. It should just be like bronze, gold, silver, and like it'll be a nice surprise when I level up or something. Like I don't know like what their perspective is, you know?
Yeah, that'd be interesting, just based off like design and stuff in general, right? Because like all three of us, like if we like we would want balancing towards the top 1%, right? We want balancing towards the competitive level. Like the whole thing like in League of Legends where like there's like the noob stomp champions. They do well in like lower ranks, but like in the competitive professional scene they don't do well, that kind of thing. Like we want it balanced for the competitive scene, but like no, people would hate that in the lower ranks. So
I mean,
yeah.
that problem happens to League champions where they're good in team-based situations, but that makes them unplayable in solo queue because you don't have
that too. Yeah.
So it's like it's kind of like a design flaw of inherently in League of Legends, but like there's not too much you can do about it except for like choose one way and commit to it.
Wait, so. Aleco, I don't even know this.
Oh, sorry. Oh yeah, go ahead.
No. You
go ahead.
My question was going to change topic a little bit, so you go.
Okay, so I was going to say to apply that example to TFT. And again, this is just my perspective. I don't work on TFT. This is my perspective. I think I read a lot of people on forums and stuff saying that assassins were super overpowered. Like back when they were just stone cold unplayable. It's like this was like a few weeks ago. A lot of people in like the Twitter threads, Reddit threads, just like Riot nerf assassins. They're so frustrating because like they're kind of like a noob stomping comp. I feel like if you have no idea how to position and you don't really know how to manage your economy, and someone who like halfway knows what they're doing or is like on a similar level like comes in and puts together like a reasonable assassin comp, I feel like they just kind of walk through like these like really newer players. Like
it's a very linear comp to make.
Yeah, it's very linear strategy, very easy to do too. Like you can accidentally execute an assassin strategy much better than you can accidentally execute any more like nuanced build that's like going back and forth.
Like elementalist, demon type stuff.
Yeah, it's super straight up. You put 6 assassins in, and then they kind of do the thing. And if you accidentally do that, like you're going to be accidentally doing that better than someone who's like haphazardly between 4 different compositions. So I think that's like a good reason why you might think like us as like more competitive players might want assassins to be a viable comp, right? Like you would want every synergy to be a viable synergy because the ultimate competitive game would have as many viable synergies as possible. But then when you think about it from like a casual player perspective, like you probably don't want assassins to be like tier 1 all the time, because then that'd be the only thing that casuals would make, and casuals would get really frustrated by getting killed by assassins all the time. So
I mean, I think this example came up recently for me. Like there was a university tournament where I'm an alumni, and like, I was reading like what they like people were talking about, and like everyone this past Sunday, and they were like, oh, all you do is go void brawlers and you're unbeatable. And everyone was like consensus saying that. And I was just like, I'm not gonna say anything because like I don't want to like really get in an argument with like 8 people. Yeah. But I'm like, it's really weird that like that's a conclusion. I'm like, just like, have you guys like turned on like a single stream? Like I don't know. It's so weird. Like right after these Volibear nerfs, it's like void brawlers unbeatable. I'm like, sure.
Yeah,
go for it, guys.
That situation happens in like every game, man. Like playing Hearthstone and someone comes up to you and like tells you about how good a deck is, like sleeper OP, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah. Have you tried this card, man? Have you tried this one? Like,
what I didn't like this assassin thing, like, and the problem was never the assassin. The problem was always the ninjas, and that was triggering me so hard because assassins got nerfed, and that was wrong. Assassins didn't need a nerf. The ninjas needed a nerf, and now assassins are actually unplayable almost. Like, I don't know, man. They destroyed the assassins early and mid game where they were actually strong, and now it feels really bad to play assassins early and mid. It's really hard. I think you can only play assassins right now if you get like Akali early, and then buy the assassins after that, and not the other way around. You don't build towards Akali. You build from Akali on, and then you go back.
That's almost what I did already, though.
Like you might have a Kha'Zix 2 from like round 2 or something, or you might have a Pike 2 because it was a great early game unit. But like, other than that, you're like, I'm not buying any of these other units.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
We're possessing.
I had said for a while, it wasn't like Ninja Synergy or Ninja Units. It was both. Both of them were just kind of absurd together, right? Because the stats on ninjas super high, and they get multiplied well, right? So yeah, that was we still see Kennen, but I mean, the ninjas getting reworked. Actually, we can talk about that.
I get the thing that assassins were really annoying to play against though in the lower levels because you felt like you just get one shot and you can't do anything. and I had this feeling as well. So I don't think assassins should be the best comp. Like I think that meta is like really boring for like to play against. Like it's really frustrating to play against assassins and get randomly one shot or not and then win, or get randomly one shot and take 30 damage. That's like
Do
really
you remember the assassins meta in DAC?
yeah.
When like, assassin,
Yeah.
like
Oh.
Nine Assassin was the only thing you could play.
That was way
Oh,
worse
but-
than
but
the
that- but
DAC
that was
assassin meta.
fun.
And
That
how
was fun.
prevalent they were, man. Oh my god, they were so dumb.
Oh, it was so funny though. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was not. It was a little bit too bad, but it was fun.
Yeah. Assassins were pretty fun in DAC. Assassins in DAC were a lot different because most assassins were ranged, which is just kind of like if I think there's not a single ranged assassin in. I make Ken an assassin, but there's not a single ranged assassin in this game, right?
Yeah, they're all close combat. That's why
Right.
RFC is so important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, they played quite a bit differently because of that. Like stuff like being able to like put a unit up front, which you can with RFC, but put a unit up front to focus on a target, someone put it at the front to try to dodge your assassins, that kind of stuff. It looks cool. Anyway, there's a patch coming out. I don't know if anyone knew that. There's a patch tomorrow.
Oh,
Surprise. Or today, depending on where you are.
For me today.
Yeah. I actually heard EU and E's down already. So
Oh, I didn't even check.
Oceania already has the patch. I don't know.
Oh, damn.
So yeah, these are there's a lot of changes to the patch. These are some of like the major like headlining changes, but there's also a lot of like just like nerfs to the champion stuff that's not on here. There's some like I have Aatrox, Varus Morgana on here, but mainly
I think I'm the most noted things.
yeah, I think these are the biggest things. First, I want to talk about like the reworks. Like your guys' thoughts on just these works in general. Anything you think will be like kind of meta defining of these reworks? Do you guys have any ideas? Like things that could really like take over?
Yeah,
Pheylop.
I mean, I think nobles feel really like nobles. The magic resist, I don't really like it though. It feels like it's not really a counter. Like nobles should be a counter comp to like physical damage, and now it's a counter to maybe everything or like nothing.
But can you
'cause
build
they
in?
get you bad.
Can you build into nobles and slash nobles
No.
in as a counter comp? Like,
No,
like-
I mean you could like you still have an early game where you can decide like, okay,
Yeah.
should I go for nobles because my lobby is going like gunslingers, rangers a lot or something. There are almost no sorks, so I don't like I go for it. I try to go for it, or I don't, and I sell my nobles for like.
I feel like
better
that's
people
Guardians
to use
though. Isn't that
Yeah,
just what
okay, sure.
Guardians
Yeah,
is?
that is true. I mean, yeah, that
I
is
feel like
true.
whenever I try to be big brain and like go into nobles based on what my lobby is doing, I just never find Kale and get totally punished. The only times that I ever like do nobles like and do well is when I like have like a decent like 3 noble synergy going on already just from the early game, and I happen to roll into like a super early Kale or a super early Leona,
Right.
and I'm like, okay, I guess this is just the best thing to transition into from here. They don't feel comfortable from the beginning of the game making a determination like, all right, this is a noble game. So
Did you ever play the patented 5 goblin comp in DAC?
many times.
5 goblins, dude.
Failed. I know.
No,
you're-
but like,
That's
Like-
such
like,
a
I don't
noob.
know. I spent like 8 turns on like 50 gold level 8 and just failed to find Kale and still get second place and just been like, wow, like
you have all
it's
3
so
stars or
weird to
something?
be chasing legendaries, huh?
Did you have all 3 stars or something?
I mean, I wasn't in danger until I had like eventually you're rolling down to 30, then you're rolling down to 10, and then you have no money. But it's like I had like the core lineup, everything was leveled up. My Lucian was level 3, and then it was just like, all right, I have to find this Kale, or else I'm just playing like a comp that doesn't
Units.
quite have all this energy. Yeah, and it's like, oh, I have a couple Rangers, I have like a Phantom bonus, I got some Nobles, but like your bench is like full of a bunch of like stuff. And then like you just don't have the Kale, so you actually have like you're just like missing like this is a huge power spike that would just lock up the game, but instead you just lose because you spent 300 gold and you couldn't find the Kale.
Yeah, and then you find it, and then it's like not you don't need it anymore because it's so late game that the noble is not even that strong. And then
How do you guys feel about that concept of a strategy? It was goblins in this, and sorry, it's goblins in DSC. It's nobles in this. The concept of if you hit the legendary, if you hit the very rare unit, you're very strong. But if you don't hit it, you're dead. How do you guys feel? Do you like that idea, like the high risk, high reward, or Yeah, I just want to hear your thoughts on that.
I think it's good that they exist. I think you want some number of those in the game, but I don't think you want them to be the best strategy ever, and I don't think you want them to be like what the game revolves around. Like I think it's what I really like is that there's only nobles in this game. That's like a 6 synergy that relies on finding a 5 cost.
Yes, will kind of be of at least or play the Ruin King, but yeah.
But I think good that they exist, but I don't think you ever want them to be like a focal point of the strategy.
Yeah, they are easier to get in DFT though with the carousel, so it makes it a little bit more consistent. At least. So yeah, I don't know.
It's so weird to have to balance all the feel goods with all the feel bads, and like that's like I think like a lot one like the primary like things you actually have to worry about. Like there's game balance, and there's also just like the fucking when you spend so long looking for something and you never find it, and like you set yourself up for success, and then you just die. It feels really, really bad. Like if you go through like carousels, possible legendaries, and you still can't find what you need, and I don't know. I don't like strategies like that. I think it's cool that it exists. And I'm more down for nobles if like there's a way to make something a noble. Obviously, you can't. It's not the right class thing. But like 6 Blade Masters just feels so good because you make stuff Blade Master.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that's true. That's true.
That kind of stuff still happens as I mean, nobles is the most blatant like time that happens, right? But it can still happen. Like I think every single one of us have had that situation where you have 3 ninjas for the whole game, right?
Yeah, damn, dude.
Like it happens well with forecasts, right? Like honestly, I've had games where I just can't find Shen. I have 3 ninjas with Shen, no Shen. But
where's my cannon, dude?
Yeah,
the most famous
it's
quote.
never Zed. It's literally never Zed.
Oh yeah, it's never
Zed
Zed somehow.
The drop rate on Zed has to be higher.
Wait,
I'll find Kennen 3 before I find Kennen 1, like every game.
I mean, who here's committing to ninjas without Zed?
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I found Z3 before Kennen 1 in one of my games, and everyone called it. Everyone was like, "You're gonna find Z3 before you find Kennen 1." I'm like, nah.
Yeah, that happens so much.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's actually a good point. Is that I'll hit Z3 a lot with like, and I'll have like Pike 1 as my other assassin. Like,
is he the most common 3-star 2 cost? Z3. I think I see him more than any other.
Yeah, it could be.
Lucian's pretty common.
Yeah. Gunslingers. It's.
Yeah.
That's also Pike. Also Pike, but I don't think so.
Nah, there's way more Zeds.
Pike? No, man.
I'm saying about Gunslingers because people use Pike and Gunslingers, but yeah.
Yeah, but you don't go for Pike 3 though.
Dude, I do.
I mean, sometimes you do. I don't think it's like a focus usually. I think Lucian and Zed are the most common.
I built a lot of Lulu 3s.
Oh, yeah, that one's pretty. I mean,
love Lulu 3. It's not that common, I don't think,
it's good.
compared to Zed and Lucian.
It's good, but I don't think people end up going for it for some reason.
Right.
I don't know. Usually you spend all your money looking for Gnar, and then you...
Exactly, you don't have any money.
Back before the changes to Spear of Shojin, I would just force Lulu and put spears on her. That was all I would do. I just wanted to hear the, like, you know, like the voice lines every single time. Hugify! Like, over and over and over. That was just my only goal.
Have you had Lulu 3 with triple Shojin? It's fantastic.
Oh.
Do you guys not like, Rageblade on Lulu?
Yeah, sure.
When she has spears?
Yeah.
I feel like it's so busted.
Yeah, of course. But you want to use the bow and the rod for other things. Most of
Pheylop, you put your hand up earlier, but you didn't talk. What?
Oh, I want to talk about these assassin changes because the way it's worded makes me feel like it's like dumpstering assassins. No, assassins jump earlier and their jumps are quicker. In addition to non-assassin champ movement is slow for the start of combat.
And their
makes
attack
it sound
faster.
Like nothing breaks formation and you jump at them and die.
Dude, no, assassins are like awful.
Like that's what that reads as, right?
Yeah, this is what the patch is.
But like, if they made it so units move faster and assassins just jump behind them, then it's so different. Like, me and Aleco talked about this a little bit, where assassins, like, so much of it is based on how the AI behaves versus like the actual units, and like the way it's worded in these patch notes makes me feel like assassins are useless.
Yeah, even more useless. Man, that feels really bad.
I had the same thought when I read that. I didn't really understand like I don't know, like it just felt bad. But okay, so here's the thing. I think assassins might be the biggest, like, what feels bad about having only 3 rows. Positioning against assassins in DAC was really complicated and really cool because you had to cover all your bases and really protect your carry, because you could just put them in front and put your tanks in the back like some people wanted to do. You couldn't do that because they could just put assassins up front and kill them. So I thought it was really complicated and cool, but you had 4 rows to do that. In this game, you only have 3, and so actually trying to move everything around and protect your units correctly is really hard, because you have to use the front row is a big part of that. So I don't know. Yeah. Not that
Good point. Yeah.
You're not only
I
just
felt like assassin positioning was really relevant in DAC, and in this game, it's mostly like you can counter position for it a lot easier.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I think there'll eventually be a sweet spot, I think, where you'll find the assassins. So I think the AI changes, like, I also read them kind of like a nerf, like you guys are as well. But I think like assassins in particular, like, gain or lose more based on changes to their AI than probably some of the other classes do. Since, like, if they just, like, I've seen some fights where, like, the Akali 2 will just jump straight into the back where the carry is, ult, and then the fight's done. Right? It's just jump
on the volley
frame,
3.
dead.
On the
It's-
volley
we're
3.
good.
One shots the volley 3.
It's over, right? So
Yeah.
like if we could make all of these changes that make them harder to get in, but if there's like one subtle change in the background that's like they now target, like, with a higher likelihood, the like 3-star pieces or like more expensive pieces or whatever, then they could just be insane. So I want to see how this shakes out before I like really say for sure. But yeah, I also read this as like it seems less likely now that they'll jump like straight into the enemy carries if they're well positioned.
I mean,
Yeah.
right now.
So
if
why
read
would
right
you
now,
nerf them?
Good.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
They are bad now. I think everyone knows. I think Riot probably knows they're not very strong. Why would you then not try to buff them? Like, maybe they jump later.
They are, to be fair, they are buffing
I don't know.
Evelyn, Rengar, and Katarina.
Yeah, but
Or-
Evelyn is more of a demon anyway.
but if
But-
you read the notes,
The point is
It
to make her an
says
assassin.
it says add deeper counterplay to assassin position. It just sounds like everyone's just a corner, and it just like I can't stop imagining like just like the opening scene of like Saving Private Ryan. Like everything's just a bunker, and then like all the assassins are jumping at them and just getting like mowed down by like any comp. It just seems like hopeless. I don't know, like. And then, once they change the AI a little bit, all these changes they're putting on Rengar and Katarina and Eve, they'll just have to scale back. Like, I think they have to perfect the AI that they want before they can just like mess with all the numbers and stuff.
That's the thing.
Oh,
I didn't
true,
feel like assassin positioning, like counter assassin positioning, was very complex. It honestly felt pretty bad, because all the assassin player would do with their 6 assassins 4 ninjas is they would move their Shen from one side to the other, and your whole positioning was ruined. Like, no matter what you did, because they only had to move one piece, you could never be on the same side as them, and your units would just all try to target their Shen, and then your whole positioning's ruined, and darn. So I think it might be the right way to start thinking. Like, I want some kind of positioning change about it, so that way there is a back and forth in terms of positioning challenges, instead of just the assassin player winning it, the challenge. But yeah, they have to give, I don't know how good the buffs are. It's really hard to know that until you actually play. But they're gonna, like, if they are giving more counterplay to positioning, they have to make assassins stronger, because they already are not strong.
Well, I hope the Rengar buff is not made up like as the assassin jump nerf. They buffed Rengar because Rengar was already trash, and he's probably a bit better now.
Yeah.
It's probably not
I mean, they
enough.
buffed everything about him, right? So
Yeah, they buffed his
So both
ability and his
Rengar
stats.
and Evelyn are units that like people never ever put items onto. If Evelyn's ult actually good, it can just it basically becomes like a second Akali for your team, right?
Okay, I
So
tried.
Evelyn gets to a point where she's strong enough and she's actually just like one-shotting people with her ult, then she's actually like living the assassin dream, right?
Evelyn is insane
I-
already. She's already strong. I don't get the buffs at all. She's already really strong.
I think she's okay. I don't.
What?
She's a 3-cost unit, man.
She's
She's on the
Yeah,
same
she's
cost
so
as
strong in
Aatrox. Okay.
yeah, but Rengar is as well. Dude. Come on.
Yeah, I mean,
Alright,
Rengar
guys, I'm still
Okay.
seeing Rengar's wearing rapid fire cannons, and like I don't know, I'm still seeing it.
Okay, that's what I was
Like, it was
okay. That's what I was gonna bring up.
It was
Like us-
Kobe this time. I keep seeing Kobe doing it, and I'm like, what, like, did you want to put the items on the Zed? And he's just like, no, this is really good. I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
Like,
see,
I don't know.
Aleco said that people aren't stacking items on Rengar. I tried, okay? People were telling me, no, trust me, put RFC on Rengar. It sucked. I hated it. Every moment of it.
Of course. Why would you use it not on Zed?
Yeah.
It's such a waste.
Well, that's the thing, right? Is like, unless you're actually able to build a wild assassin comp, then Zed's getting both synergies used while Rengar isn't. So it's always gonna be better to stack Zed unless Rengar's just way better of a unit, right?
But like, do you want every unit to be able to be the item carrier? Because that's not the case. There are not that many items.
You want it to be viable, right? Like you don't want it to be automatic like dismissal of putting stuff on.
I mean,
any
if
unit.
they're
I think that's-
if they're damage units, right? Like if they're a damage unit and they aren't stackable, like what are they?
Yeah, okay, so-
there's support
yeah.
units and there's damage units, right? Like no, I'm not gonna put I'm not putting on an Infinity Edge on my Pike. I'm not gonna do that. But I'll put Mana Gain on him, right? Because he's kind of I mean, he can be a carry, but he's kind of a support unit in that way.
I mean, like,
okay.
do you want it to be like any units like Voltronable? Like, you know, when people discover Voltron Braum, they're like, oh, like, you know, you're seeing like Brahms with like the Thornmail with like the Warmogs and like Dragon's Claw, and they're like, this is like this
Pretty
is cool,
OP, dude.
you know? Yeah. But like, you know, not every unit can do that. But like,
Right.
you want us to be like, oh, like it's really cool to put this one item in Eve sometimes.
Yeah,
Where it's
exactly.
like reasonable.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, that's
can
true.
we-
You want every unit to have like a certain item combination on him that makes him like very strong with his ability. That is
Yeah.
that.
And Rengar's is selling him.
Nah,
Exactly.
rapid fire cannon all the way.
Let's
I
go.
don't
dude.
get it.
Since we were talking about even demons, let's talk about how hard demons are getting slapped in
Yeah.
the face in this patch. What's
Holy crap. Okay, so the
Aleco,
demon
you first.
let me first say the change.
Love
The
it.
demon change isn't on
sure,
here.
sure.
The demon change is on here. They're getting changed from 25, 50, 85, right? Or 25, 55, 85, one of those, to
25, 50, 85. Yeah.
20, 35, 60? Like,
Yep.
the four demons gets just slaughtered. Four demons got so murdered, and not only that, Aatrox, Morgana, and Varus all got damage nerfs. They're getting slaughtered.
It's
Okay,
probably still strong after the nerfs.
we'll see.
Dude, Aatrox 1 seems unplayable.
Yeah, Aatrox
Like,
1 seems real bad. Yeah.
Okay, but that's good. Aatrox 2 seems way too strong.
Well, we'll
How
see.
much is it? 600? Like, whoa,
Yeah,
shit.
it's still a lot.
But
Alright,
that's still, I think, still very good.
no, pass it to Aleco.
Sorry.
No. So first of all, Pepe hands to Varus, my boy. He's like unquestionably my favorite unit in the game. So
Oh, yeah.
sad to see that I can't just like force Sorcerer Varus every single game now. But I think the thing with demons that's kind of unfun in this game, and I'm quoting from someone else. This isn't my these aren't my direct words, but like the kind of the fun of games like TFT and Auto Chess is that you build up this big team and they get to do powerful stuff. And demons just kind of waltz in and they're like, nah, dog, none of your abilities are gonna
Yep.
work, right?
Yeah.
They're kind of designed like they're like the blue mage in Magic, or like they're the I don't know,
nope.
they're
The
like
Nopers.
they're the no's, right? They come in and they say no to whatever you're doing. So I think
Yeah.
it's important that you have some kind of counterplay class like this. Like if there's a team that's just popping off by using all their abilities all the time, you need to have some kind of counterplay strategy to it. But you can't have that be the predominant strategy.
Glacial's similar, right?
That's a thing that you need to exist. Yeah, just like Glacial. That's a great point. You want these kind of counterplay or like no strategies to exist in a space where they beat or strongly beat like the comps they're designed to beat. So like Glacials counter like AD based comps, and like demons would counter like AP or like ability based comps.
Right.
But you never want them to be unilaterally strong because it's just going to be frustrating to play against.
Yeah, it's weird because the fact that like it deals quite a bit of damage as well, it makes it like a viable comp. Like when I think of how I think of a comp that is they're effectively silencing, right? They don't silence, but they effectively are silencing. I think of a comp that's going to be silencing the enemy, humans in DAC. I think of them as something that you splash into your comp, right? It's like a secondary synergy. It's not, you don't have a demon comp that doesn't exist. Like you don't have a human comp in DAC. You have a comp that also has humans. That's how I think of DAC.
Yep.
That's how I think of demons as well as
agree.
glacials. And it's weird to me that you can have like 6 demon and 6 glacial comps are a thing. Like if someone told me to build 6 humans in DAC, I would laugh at
It's a
them
meme.
and keep playing.
It's a meme.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you can do it, but you probably still mage.
Yeah, you're probably just.
But you could do it, but you're still
Still call
actually a
them
mage.
Yeah.
6 Kunkens,
Six.
dude. You can't-
And even just for the fun factor of the game, it's like it's such a buzzkill to like level units up and then just watch them do fucking nothing. It's just like I don't know if that's like too casual of me to think, but like you work so hard to like level something up and then like there's all these like synergies just like nah, it doesn't actually fucking matter like if you level up your unit or not, it's gonna do nothing this entire fight.
How do you feel
anyway.
about Curse
Yes.
Blade? That's like one of the most complained about things on Reddit right now. Is Curse
Yeah,
Blade?
but the thing is, right, like in DAC, the most annoying thing was human science. And what do we have in this game? We have Hush. We have like Disarm chant. Like we have demons. Like
Yeah.
there's so many human mechanics in this game that's really frustrating. Like getting Hushed is super annoying. Getting Disarmed is super annoying. Getting Mana Burn is super annoying. Getting Curse Blade is super annoying. I don't know. These things are not fun to play.
It
And I hope
hasn't been
they
bothering me that much.
change it.
It hasn't been bothering me that much. The thing that's bothering me
Oh,
the
it
most
is
is
me.
Phantom. Phantom has bothered me a lot, but
Phantom as well.
Mm.
Exactly. That's another one. Thank you.
Oh, that is like the
Yeah.
rolling the die and hoping you high roll, and when you do, you're like, oh, guess you lose.
dude,
Have fun.
the amount of times today that like I had a unit get phantomed and then die to I mean it was Thornmail once, it was Static Shiv another time, like it's just like oh well.
Yeah, that's why Static Shift is so strong in Rangers, right, with Phantom. Because they're, even though you Phantom the backline, they're gonna get shift, and then they...
On top of Static Shiv being just good.
Yeah, exactly, of course. But it's a nice
Yeah, it's
combination
nice.
over
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
It's so funny with like Ionic Spark. You know, like I've seen like Blitzcrank
Yeah,
get like Blitzcrank 3 gets Mordekaiser like or gets Phantom and then like goes to grab and doesn't even get to like hit your unit.
But I haven't seen that one. That's...
Oh, it's
I've-
hilarious.
I've
And people
seen
were
that.
like,
Not a Blitzcrank
oh,
3,
like
but, yeah.
well played. Like I'm like, thanks.
I think if you're gonna have mechanics like these, you need to offer like counterplay to them, like counterplay to the counterplay. Like if they're gonna be like the strongest thing or the best thing to do, and it doesn't feel like there's a ton of counterplay to some of the like disarm weapon, like silence weapons and stuff. There is some counterplay to Phantom. So like I had a game where I had like a hyper carry cannon, and he got phantomed like 3 fights in a row, but he never died because I had a locket and a Hextech Gunblade. So he'd get phantomed and then would just attack and would kind of heal back up before he could ult. So
That's fair.
there are some ways that you
Yeah,
can.
that's true.
I still think is kind of frustrating as a mechanic, more from an RNG perspective, because like you'll go into a fight and like you'll get some like random thing phantomed. You're like, okay, this is fine, right? And you'll go into a fight and you're like, your level 3 Aatrox will get phantomed.
Yeah.
You're like, great, table flip, right? So I think it's more that like it's so swingy from a fight to fight basis. Like I don't know really how you could equalize
So-
that more.
Aleco,
but-
do you try Underlords? Do you try Underlords?
No, I actually haven't.
Never tried Underlords? Okay. Well, Underlords had a
Yeah.
system. Their Druid system was that when you had
Oh my
two,
God.
if you had 2 Druids on the board, so you had let's say you had a 2-star Trent and a 2-star Furion, it would randomly upgrade one of them. Trent's a lot better than Furion. It would randomly upgrade one of your Druids. Your lowest cost, your lowest star
3-star.
Druid, your lowest star Druids. Yeah, it'd upgrade to a 3-star or whatever. That's to me very similar to the fan mechanic. Is that when you go into a fight, you have no idea how the fight's gonna go, and that kind of feels bad because it like whether I have a 3-star Lone Druid or a 3-star Enchantress is gonna be very different in terms of how the fight is. Right, if I'm running beasts, and in this game, like whether I have my Graves 1 that I'm running for synergy or my Tristana 3 get phantomed, it's gonna be pretty different. So yeah, that's the issue that I tend to run into is like it's I have no idea going into the fight of how it's going to end up, and I hate that feeling. I like to have some kind of assurance of
Yeah.
what's happening.
Take the strategy away. That's why I really like Zephyr. That's
Yes,
that kind of
Zephyr's
stuff. That's so
Yeah,
sick.
it's so much
That's
fun.
the
It's, like,
opposite.
actual-
That's the opposite of Phantom, right?
Yes.
That's like perfect item. Like you can. It's like a niche item. Like no one actually buys it, but you can use it very effectively, and that's like an awesome item.
This goes
I really
back
like
to
it.
like the whole competitive versus casual thing, where like I'm sure there's some
Yeah,
people
yeah.
that hate Zephyr, like the fact like how much they have to like tab back and forth for Zephyr. Like, I'm sure that's a thing.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean-
they just want to put the Draven in the corner.
Yeah.
And then they do nothing, you know.
Good blitz.
I also kind of want to know why like so many of the mechanics in this game are so like no, as opposed to like empowering things. Like I wish there was like a passive that like made it so maybe like those kind of units or your whole team is like more resistant to CC, or like an item that makes
Tenacity?
your unit un-CCable or something, or like a
100%.
passive that like 100% mana, starts with 100% mana, so everything automatically casts. Or like stuff like
God, that'd be
like
broken for some.
that's not very. Yeah, but like it depends. Like right, you design this injury around it, right? Like so, dragons in auto chess were balanced around it, right?
Yeah.
So like, but like
Yeah, I mean, we
those
have
are
robot.
more pro. Like there's ways to stop other things, but those options haven't been given to us yet, right?
Mhm.
And I'm
Maybe
kind of
we'll
wondering like
QSS
why.
should be the first item that they add to this game. That's what like for those who don't know, Quicksilver Sash is like the anti-CC item in League of Legends. I think having an item that just prevents your character from having debuff effects applied to it, like so that you can like throw that on a carry against debuff heavy comps, I think that would be awesome. I would
They
love
would
to love this.
have
That's a
to.
big fat +1 for me.
They'd have to remove an item or add a new basic item, right?
Yeah, they have to remove one, but I don't know. I don't know what they've said about seasons. I know they said that they're going to be like rotating pieces in and out. There's so many items in League of Legends. You could rotate items in and out too. I have no idea if that was on the
Dude,
table or
if
not.
they rotated like a basic item, like think of the meta shifts that happen because of that. That like
That'd be awesome.
Whole,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it would be.
Can they not just make rune instead? Items.
Yeah, they
useless
just
anyway.
they just cut runins. It's fair.
Like that can make that item.
I think I
whatever,
only
like,
get
disable.
runins like when it's a solo item from the carousel, a full runins.
And then I don't even feel good. Like I'm like I kind of have to take it, but for some reason I feel really bad. I don't know.
It gives 40 MR, right? It does give 40. It doubles it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's that.
There are so many niche effects
Yeah.
that I think would be really, really cool to have
Mhm.
in TFT. And there are definitely, like, the more I play it, the more I notice, like, oh, I really wish there's a way to do X in this scenario. And, like, I feel like I should be able to do it by merging two items. Like, and I hope we go in that direction instead of just, like, oh, like, don't worry, guys, you'll get stunned a little bit less. Or, you know, we'll nerf it so that mana burn's just unplayable, so you won't have to play against it. You know, like that shouldn't be the solution. The go-to solution is making something unplayable. It should be to introduce counterplay and like using your brain as opposed to just like being like, oh, the players don't like this. Let's just like alter it.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
Can we talk about Carousel losing a unit? I don't get the change. Like,
Yeah.
I don't see what it's doing, but it's interesting. to
Aleco, what are they doing?
me. Yeah.
I could not tell you. I have no idea
I
what
know.
this change is about. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's coming along with any sort of other changes. I guess the way they announced it makes it seem like they're just straight up cutting one thing
Yeah.
from the carousel.
I
I don't
sorry,
know.
At least one thing. At least I hope that they increase the first carousel to everything is a 2 costed. Like otherwise, someone's gonna end up with a 1 cost and a bad
Well,
item.
they're probably gonna
maybe.
make it one
And-
cost, right? Just a singular 1 cost unit now.
Oh yeah, that's fine as well.
Mhm.
That's fine.
So okay,
I hope they do.
Here's
wanna do-
my issue. Okay, are legendaries not gonna be across from each other now? Because you can't have people think across from each other.
Maybe it's a positioning rationale for this, right? Like they wanted it, like it's just like spaced better. Because something that would tilt me off the face of the planet, it's like, so it's like, let's say like I just like need the Akali, right? Like I'm 3 assassins in, I need the Akali, right? And we go into the carousel, boom, there's an Akali, like, and it's got a rod on it. It's like, oh yeah, I've been losing. It's coming to me. It's gonna be great. And then it ends up on the opposite side of the fucking carousel, and the guy pops out and takes the Akali. It's like, oh,
That can't
it's so
ever
much
change,
worse than if
right?
one wasn't in there. I don't know
Yeah,
if like positionally you could make stuff like better. Like I don't know. This is a change that without any context, I have a really hard time unpacking if there's like positives or negatives to it.
Don't you guys? Oh, have you seen like sometimes I have 9 units on the carousel? Like it sometimes
I
it
have seen
happens,
that.
right?
Oh, I've seen
that
it too.
Somewhere randomly I have 9.
Wait,
Like,
what?
I thought it was a bug.
You guys have also noticed that like
maybe it's because they want a gap. Maybe it's because they want to
Yeah.
start off so that there's an
So you
entry
could run
point
in.
from the bottom. Because sometimes, like if it's on,
Yeah.
if, let's say like I know there's a circle here and I'm here, and the piece I want's like here, like I have to run all the way around. But if there's just like a gap,
That
maybe
makes a
you
lot
could,
of
like, shoot in the
sense.
middle. Maybe
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Yeah, that
Maybe
that'd
also
actually be
make
really
the
nice.
circle a little
smart.
bit bigger.
Wait, but don't you get screwed if, like a little bit if the gap's right in front of you? Like I guess I mean like you lose a unit kind of, but at the same time it lets you.
Mhm.
In the first carousel you get screwed a little bit. In the first carousel, only in the 1st one I think. But
Oh, I had a question I want to ask real quick. Have you guys noticed that like every like about like 40 rolls, you'll just have like an empty slot?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know what's up with that. It's obviously a bug.
And that's a bug.
Okay. I just want to see if like it's like consistently across the board. Like everyone's like every
It's
so often they'll just be like, "There's just a black slot here. There's
I think
nothing
I
here."
only get it like every other game though, or every few games. I don't think I get it that
I
often.
don't get it that much.
I got it like twice in like one turn of rolling and been like, "What the fuck?"
I mean, the game is not out yet, right? That's what you say. It's
Yeah,
still in
yeah,
beta,
it's in beta.
so it doesn't matter. We still don't have synergies. Doesn't matter.
Also, can we
Wait,
agree that
is the game in
lock-in's
beta?
awful now? Those Secret Assassins.
Yeah, Locker is like
Mhm.
I don't see there's almost any. I mean, there. No,
4
It's
seconds.
so bad.
I mean-
it's terrible.
So
Sorry. Go.
one thing I'll say, like, so I agree, it seems awful right now, at least compared to what it was.
Yeah.
It would be something I like to actively build, but I think one thing that we haven't really seen is like people mostly stack their units towards the back row. Like even in like
Yeah, going
ostensibly frontline or melee heavy compositions, which is really strange because in DAC you'd see like warriors would go all up at front. There'd be like a lot of reasons to like put your units as close
Mhm.
to the front as possible. But even with like those frontline things, I still feel like it's better to like put my like frontliney type units towards the back. So maybe Locket will with this change will let you put stuff along the front line and just like smash in for like brawler comps or knight comps or something like that.
Why do we
I-
do that?
I think
have no
I-
idea.
I think I put my when I think I put units in the front line when I have a cannon. I used to do, and I think I do that sometimes. Because the problem with cannon is like when you put cannon in the back line, he's gonna walk like very awkwardly sometime, and he's just gonna die. When you put cannon in the front, it's gonna like instantly auto attack and stand still, like and then like probably not get attacked often and still get a very good ultimate off in the. And if you put him in the back, it's gonna be very awkward what he's gonna do. So that's the only reason like why I would put something in the front, like my whole team in the front.
But if
yeah.
I have like a giant melee comp, right? Like Blade Masters, although I used to have Draven, but I can't see the advantage of actually going the backline, but I definitely do it. I just like I don't have a
Yeah.
reason I do it, but I do. But I can't see the reason why that's better.
I mean,
It's
it
totally
increases
a
RNG,
feels-based
right?
thing. It just feels like I feel like when I put my brawlers or my blade masters in the front row and I fight, I do worse than if I put them in the back. And I can't put my finger on it, but it's like I'll move between those two formations and just it feels to me like I'm winning more when they're along the back, and I'm not sure why that is.
It increases RNG when you put all your units to the back, right? Like when you're in the front, like you can kind of decide how your units take aggro. But
Yeah.
when we put your units to the back, it kind of like random units will take damage. And you can't really, but it also increases the chance that your frontliners will help your backliners that get jumped. But I'm gonna say I also just backline everything most of the time, even when I have like 4 knights, and I'm
Yeah.
like, what the hell?
I mean,
It's
there are
nice
things
to
like
have,
Zeke's, right? So
Yeah,
I
but
think
what they're saying is the front row
I think
exists.
because Locket was OP, people start backlining everything, and now they're kind of getting used to that, like that thing, like just putting everything in the back in a line. Like I don't know, feels like a habit
yeah,
of.
yeah. I think it was like you'll see people without like literally without Zeke's, like just like a normal like sort comp, no Zeke's, no Locket, they'll just line up at the back. I'm like, that's not right. What are you doing?
Yeah, that's not right. When I do Sork, I go corner
Yeah,
because I want a good ASOL ult, and that's not gonna
right,
happen.
and
when you put
Morgana
everything-
and Lulu and yeah, everything.
Yeah.
So okay, we still haven't talked. Okay, I want to go to the meta discussion, but we haven't talked about the biggest change yet. I think, which is the fact that player damage is lowered. Like,
But I don't think it's a big change at all.
yeah, okay, that's the thing is that it actually might not be big because it's
Yeah.
now that we know it's only 3, 4, and 5 cost units are getting changed.
Well, I think the thing is right. It is a good change for late game, but the problem with player damage is you take too much damage early, not late game. Like, of course, it is annoying to take like 30 damage sometimes in the late game, right? Where you get destroyed and you actually take like 30 damage. Like that doesn't happen anymore. It's a good change still for that. But the problem about the whole game and losing streaking is that you take too much damage early.
Elite spiders are lowered.
Yeah, that's good, but you don't often. That's not a reason why you.
Yeah, usually it's not
Yeah.
at least 3 that cause you to be low health. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's like really unfortunate, and it's a good change again. But it's not the core. It's not the core of the problem being they tried to fix.
I wonder what the problem was with just making it so that your courier doesn't do damage. Like, they
Right.
probably tested it and it didn't work out. But I wouldn't know why.
Yeah.
They just want the game to be fast. I don't know. That's the only reason I see.
Yep.
There's no
we-
other
I-
Give me more
reason.
time.
Yeah,
to make
I want more-
meaningful decisions.
Yeah, can I not have to press D to 0 gold every turn?
Yeah.
So
Uh,
I think there's a couple of things going on here. So the first thing is, so coming from Dak, I think one of the more compelling pieces of strategy was the losing streak, like the intentional loss streak
Yes.
or open forting, because like it was such a unique and interesting judgment call I think you had to make when you'd start out a game and you just get like shit rolls and you're like, okay, I think I'm going to lose on average to the majority of people. So my best strategy right here is to go max econ, take a bunch of damage, and then like hit a power spike and try to win from like 30 health or something like that, right? I think there's a couple of issues with that. First of all, it's counterintuitive to that. Like most games don't ever want you to lose. Like they want you to win and keep winning. So I think it's a little bit weird from like a classical game design sense to like try to encourage players to do that. It's good to have comeback mechanics, right? It's good to have mechanics where if the losing team can then turn things around very quickly, which is why you have like lose streak bonuses. But I don't think you ever want to make it so that it's like a constantly viable strategy. Like it's always like it's just like something that's always on the table and always good. Because I think first of all, it'll kind of create a separation between the people who are like experienced or like in the know and the people that are trying to play it more casually. When you introducing someone to TFT right now is super nice and super accessible. But imagine you're like, okay, by the way, half the time you're supposed to not win, and then the trick is knowing when to start winning. Like it's a very counterintuitive kind of
so
weird
much
psychological
nuance
place
as well.
to be in. It adds a lot of nuance, and I did like it in Dak, I think. But I think it's the sort of thing where if you want to make the decision that that's just not a thing that you want to be viable, to like have people intentionally punt like the first 15 minutes of the game and just like sit there like waiting until like their one moment to strike. If that's not, I think it's a pretty reasonable standpoint to just say like we don't want that to be a thing. I think what you should try to balance for is not feeling like you're out of the game because you just had bad rolls in the early game. Like that's what's good about the lose streaking is like it feels like you have the agency to turn things around. Like, oh, I got bad rolls, I can still win this by doing this special thing. So I feel like you definitely need to allow players to come back from like bad rolls in the early game and win with their decision making. But I don't know if I actually don't know if it's a good idea to like strictly speaking like make lose streaking like a viable strategy, like or to at least open fort strategy.
Well, okay,
it shouldn't be viable, but it should not be as punishing as it is. That's the problem.
So
like, go ahead.
I did a giant rant on Twitter about when I it's about pirates. I talked about losing streak a lot because my issues with pirates is that they actually made losing streak worse because there was someone in the game who get more money than you when you're lose streaking. That's my main issue with pirates is that because the thing about lose streaking to me, what lose streaking is what you resort to when you have a bad start, right? Pirates aren't pirates like they're not a bad start. If you have 3 pirates on 2-1, it's not a bad start. It's fine, right? So to me, like lose streaking is what you resort to when you have a bad start. There was times in like I said in my thing. I think when I first hit Queen, I was lose streaking about 80% of my games, open forting about like 20-25% of them. That's DAC. I think was too far in the losing streak direction. I think losing streak was too good. Streaks in particular, just in general, streaking was all the height Eula was at the end of us playing. All you cared about was streaks. It was too much in that direction. In this game, and the only way I can fear to fix this is to making lose streaking viable to some extent is that it's completely 100% the other way, where if you have a bad start, you are almost certainly going to just die because like you guys have had games where you died before wolves, right? Before like on stage 3.
Yep.
Yeah, that never happened in DAC unless you literally open forted where you would die that early, and that's a conscious decision that you made. Is to take that risk. You would never die that early in DAC, which it makes sense. Obviously, damage is lower. But the thing was that you had in that time that DAC gave you, you had time to make choices, had time to make enough money so you could make choices. In this game, you can't because of the damage being so high, you don't have the time to make those choices and time to recover. You can't lose streak for long enough. They are changing lose streaks so that you're going to get effectively 2 more gold, right? You're going to get your 2 costs, you're going to get your +2 earlier, and you're going to get your +3 earlier by 1 turn each.
Yes.
So you get effectively +2 gold. I can't see that being enough.
I mean, when you hit +3, you're at 0 health now at TFT, right? When the first time you hit +3, you're probably dead.
Yeah, pretty
So
much. Yeah.
when you hit +3 now, you're at 10 health. Alright. I don't know, man. Like, yeah, you're gonna have some more gold, sure,
Like,
but I don't know.
It
It's just
feels
super
bad
annoying. You can't do anything when you lose. Sorry.
It feels bad to never give a shit about your lose streak. Like you're always just like, I hope I stop my lose streak now. Like it just doesn't. There's no point where like I need to preserve my lose streak. You know, like losing health just feels so bad, and then you lose like so fast, and then you're dead. And I don't know, maybe like there could be a system where like it's like every turn the person who's in last place gets like a little bit extra gold or something. I don't see these current changes being enough to make it so that like lose streak is appealing in any way. Like
I think the system kind of does exist though. It's called the carousel, right? Like
That's true.
The carousel, I think, the ideal world, because all of your complaints are totally valid. I feel like the whole thing about the advantage of like being able to open for it, like to come out of these like really bad starts, is to be able to give agency to players who had bad starts. That is a positive, and I think that's kind of the goal of the carousel as well. It's to make both allow players to complete item builds that they're specifically looking for, and to give players who are lose streaking or who are at the bottom like a comeback and the ability to climb up. So do you think like maybe a better change to not encourage lose streaking, but to allow players to come back from bad starts and bad rolls in the early game would be to just like make the disparity between pieces larger in the carousel?
See.
all right.
Okay.
What about this? What about this? So currently they nerfed win streaking and they buffed lose streaking by making 1 unit less in the carousel. But what if the last place player also gets the remaining unit in the carousel?
That works.
So you just get like an extra little item or something on their bench.
The
Okay.
thing is, right?
God,
the thing I
dude,
like
going
about this,
being last though, like then you have the 2-3 open for it.
but don't you guys think like the carousel is good when you're losing? But there's a reason why you're losing, because you probably have no items, and the number one guy doesn't really need any items because he's probably winning because he has 6 items, and you can get your extra. So you can make. Well, I have a spark now. Why the number one guy has an RFC and a spark?
Well,
and,
Pheylop is saying
and
you
a
get
bow.
2 items, right? Pheylop's saying you
Yeah,
get
I
the
mean
one.
that's why I said it was. That's why I think it's like maybe a good thing. But I was commenting more on like Aleco, where you say like you get the first one to be in the carousel. That's nice, but like it's not enough. Like most of
Yeah,
I think
no,
Pheylop said he
I
wanted
actually
too
I totally
much.
agree. No, I think I totally agree with that. I think that the idea though behind the carousel was to be to be the reason to lose streak, right? So not to you want the games to have good pacing, right? So not having open for it helps the pacing of the game a lot. And you want players to feel like they can come back from these things, right? And I think that's why the carousel is there. But the question is the carousel doing enough to help those players right now, or is there enough ability for players who do get bad early rolls to make decisions and bring them back into the game? And I think the consensus here is that there isn't. So would the better change be to really reduce damage, because that would have an effect on the pacing, or would it be to make changes to the carousel, or just to like the amount of gold generation, or add some other kind of comeback mechanism?
It just seems like it's not enough of a power spike to be the first pick in the carousel. Which, like, I actually think like giving the last place player the one remaining item afterwards is actually a pretty interesting idea to play with.
But then it's like when you're 7th, you feel awful.
Yes, yeah, that's the thing. Is
Right?
all it
That's the
does is
thing.
make 7th 8th, right? That's all that does.
Yeah, like that makes 7th feel like 8th. Yeah, I agree. And there's no difference between the
yeah,
it's a good buff.
all it does is makes effectively that 7th place is last place and 8th place is somewhere else.
I don't think that's necessarily like all the time though, but like because like currently 8th is just 8th, right? Like
Yes.
I think there are times where like the one guy who's 8th is like 43%, and then like
That's-
7th is still at like 72%.
Sometimes, yeah, that's true.
Well, I don't
Like-
know.
But
I'm
this
like,
should change that.
I
It's
don't
on like you're getting you're getting another item and unit on 2-4. Okay, but
What if it kicks in later?
there's a thing there's a thing about the carousel that I think is it's weird because it's a good thing and a bad thing. Items have gotten closer in terms of power, I feel like. I think over time they've made the items more balanced, which means that going first in the carousel has gotten less good. Right? Like Like
Excellent point,
it used to be that recurve bow used to be in spatula, like they were the top, and everything else was like whatever. Like I guess I get that. Everything else now it's like okay, there's a lot of good stuff like rod's really good, the belt, sword, like there's a lot of stuff that's really good, and you're like pretty happy getting almost anything, honestly. Like there's like I can't remember the like in the early days like picking a Negatron cloak off of the first carousel, but I do sometimes now. Or sorry, second carousel. So I don't know how to feel about that because I don't know if they wanted to shake it so the items are less balanced. 'Cause that feels worse now to drop from creeps. But there's an issue there that like if items are imbalanced, then it feels bad to get it from creeps in the first carousel, and then if items are imbalanced, or sorry, if items are balanced, then it feels bad on the carousel when you're first pick because it doesn't really matter where you're going. I don't know. That was something to bring up because
no, that's a good point. Yeah, because it did feel like when the game started out that you'd like just wanted like one kind of item for whatever the flavor of the day. Like
right.
Yeah, but the thing was, when the game just started out, we started playing, and then people were inting for the first carousel. Is that something you want to do as well? That's.
I think that was wrong. I think they were just wrong to do that. But...
I don't know. Really? Oh.
Yeah, I do. But
I think that was fine. In the beginning, it was totally fine because no one played aggressive.
But no,
I mean, people keep changing, right? Like. Went from never leveling up to everyone always leveling up to like there hasn't been like a happy medium for anything in this game. I think.
Yeah, I see.
I think Open Fort is. Sorry, Pheylop, you're DC'd. Are you still talking? No, you're DC'd. I think. I'll keep talking. I think Open Fort is an unhealthy thing to the game. I think Open Fort is inherently unhealthy. It's not. It doesn't make any. It's what Aleco was saying. It's unintuitive. It doesn't make any sense. But I think losing streak isn't really that unintuitive to me. I think losing streak makes like obviously yes, it might take a game or two to make sense of that. But it makes sense that like it makes sense to me when I join a game that I don't have to win every round because I know that we're all dying together, right? Like I shouldn't have this feeling in my mind that I have to win this round. I have to win this round. I have to win this round. Losing streak to me is like honestly, I said this in my Twitter post. Losing streak to me isn't actually about losing and then losing and then losing and then losing and then losing. That's not what a losing streak is to me. A losing streak is to me is a way to get money to get back into the game. If that's actually just through getting interest, to get more gold to get interest faster, that's actually fine. It's not about a chain of losses to me.
But like the idea is like the whole concept is I'm charging up my laser, right? Like you're just not like the idea of paying life for an advantage is prevalent in almost every card game.
That's true. That's a good point.
Like people who are playing this kind of game, it's not like they don't understand that this is a concept. Like your life total is not always the most valuable resource in a game. Like in Magic, you pay life to draw cards sometimes. You pay life to get mana sometimes. Like there's.
It's a really good argument.
Like in TFT, life is not doesn't feel as much like a resource as in just like losing this is never good.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit too much on the other. Like I don't want Open Fort either because in DSC at the end it was way too broken and it was not fun because you were gonna compete with 3 other Open Forters and 3 people are gonna get cucked and that's not fun because when you lost your streak, you lost. Like you actually just lost. You can just quit the game. It's over, right?
Yeah. Like it makes opponent RNG so much worse when you encourage those strategies.
Yes.
Because right now it's like, okay, there's one guy that's pretty strong, and I want to be strong all the time, and I don't want to fight that one guy that's really strong so I can keep my win streak, and that's pretty intuitive. But when you're like, oh shit, there's 3 people who are literally putting no units on the board, right? And
I'm not either.
Weak, but I don't want to be too weak, but I also want to be strong, but I really don't want to be too strong. It's like the strategy there is totally trumped by who you're just rolling into. Yes, and I think that's already one of the most frustrating things at the end of the game. Yesterday, I played 3 games where I could have finished between 3rd and 5th, just depending on who I rolled into on the final fight.
Dude, just roll a ghost.
I don't really know.
Just roll a ghost.
Yeah, forehead. Yeah, easy.
Forehead, dude.
I don't know what you can really do about correcting that thing, which to me is the most frustrating part about auto chess and TFT. In this whole genre, the auto battler genre, is that you'll get to end game states where their final placing is determined by just which opponent you fight, and I think Open Forts fundamentally are that same thing, but for the whole game. So
yeah, exactly. I think most people I talk to don't want open for it either. Like,
Yes.
it's just that losing streak should be less.
What
It
I-
should be an option
Yeah.
to go for instead of like you always have to try to win because losing streak doesn't give you anything. You die to.
The reality is we want to
Yeah.
we want a way that if
Agreed.
we have a bad start, we get back into the game. That's the reality. But the
Yeah.
the immediate thought
Through
is
strategy.
that's loose streaking. If maybe it can be made in the carousel somehow, but it like Pheylop's idea, like again, I feel like I feel like a lot of the time that's going to be like, well, 7th place is dead. Like I don't know.
I mean, at least he comes with a suggestion. It might not be the best one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
I like where his head's at.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
there are just things where it's like I want like when I lose streak for there to be a thing where like I feel like I have something to think. Right now, it feels like someone like
Yeah.
flipped a quarter at me. It's like chin up, kid. It's okay. And I'm like, fuck you. Like it doesn't actually help me at all. You know, it's just like it's like I'm losing. I'm like, all right. So I actually don't have anything to think about. All I can do for the rest of the game is have 0 gold and try to get like 5th, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, that's totally true.
And we're usually we talk about meta the whole time, but because we have Aleco here as like a voice of reason, that this I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm liking
I mean,
this
that's
discussion a
good.
lot. This has been great.
Very helpful.
But we can talk a little bit about what last week's been like before we close off the show, just a little bit. This is what last week's been like. these 2 units, about it.
Oh, the
Those 2
meta.
items.
Yeah.
Yeah. So last week it's been a lot of demons, a lot of static shivs. GA's popped up. I want to ask you guys about your thoughts on GA, because GA's like, it's not like originally it was like, oh, you put it on like Swain and Kennen, maybe Aatrox. Now it's like people are just stacking GAs, like not obviously one unit, but like people are building GAs a lot. So I want to hear your thoughts on that, and just like in general, like your thoughts on the meta right now. Like, anything is stuff viable other than that? Like, how do you think about gunslingers, anything like that? Draven. So yeah, who wants to jump in?
Oh, I mean, I think demons were very strong. I think they're kind of falling off. I think the strongest right now is probably Rangers, because they're good against like a lot of comps, and they have like a very like you can go 4 Rangers, you can go 2 Rangers, you can go with Knights with them, you go Elementalists with them, Guardians with them. Like they're all very strong, and they're kind of busted with Shiv. So yeah, I think Rangers at the moment are probably the most consistent comp. I don't really like Rangers that much, but you know.
Do you think Shiv was an
I
unknown?
think Shiv made them viable
do you
only.
think,
But
do you think it was a sleeper OP, or do you think it was like it wasn't good in the meta before?
yeah, I'm actually not sure.
I think it was bugged and then it got unbugged. Actually.
yeah, it
how
was
was it
bugged in
bugged?
PvE, right? PvE.
I don't know, it's bugged. How is it bugged?
Yeah, that's what I heard. I was
Oh, okay.
I was watching, I think, Saint Vicious's stream, and that's what he said. I didn't know it was bugged because I never built it. Because literally all I do is just like watch Rens and tabs and just do what they do. So they didn't build it, so I didn't build it. But now that like I saw other people doing it, I was like, okay, I guess we're building static shivs now. So I think it was because I don't know, don't quote me on that, but I think it wasn't applying it to as many people as it's supposed to before.
Ah, okay. I didn't know this.
I also
Maybe.
feel like people got obsessed with the idea of gunslinger procs applying stack shift to everything, and they forgot that like Ranger passive actually applies a shit ton of stack shift procs.
Yeah.
So-
But you forgot as well, right?
Yeah,
Everyone
was-
forgot.
I mean, I was really not playing Rangers very much for a while.
Yeah, me
you know,
neither. Yeah. But I think honestly, I feel like a lot of people complain about the meta, but I feel like the meta right now it's not that bad, to be honest. I think it's I think a lot of stuff are viable. Yes, demons are very annoying. It's a very strong comp. Sorcerer are too strong. 3-sword buff is still too strong. There are no changes. I don't know why, but it's still too strong. But I think the meta is in a decent place.
I totally agree,
Right now.
but this is going to be every week that people are going to complain about the meta. Every week, no matter what the meta is, people are going to hate it.
But I've heard people actually hate it. Like they discussed about this meta, even though, dude, in DAC we had metas for a month, right? Like people had
Yeah.
this meta for a week, dude.
I will
And
say,
it's been
okay,
changing.
I will say, like, I played
Jesus.
Hearthstone, and like, if you didn't see at least 7 posts on r/Hearthstone about how bad the meta was on a daily basis, then you're on the wrong subreddit. But in DAC, people actually didn't hate the meta that much. That like, except for very small
No.
circumstances. It was weird, actually, thinking about it.
Yeah, exactly. And
I
I,
mean,
feel
it
like
gets
people,
stale.
Yeah.
it did get stale, but this like there's no way this is stale, right? Like of course, people don't understand. Like, people are gonna force the strongest comp. Like, that's what people do.
Yeah.
And when there's gonna be another good comp, people are gonna force that. That's like meta, kind of, right? But it doesn't mean like it's super unbalanced. Like, I think in this week the meta has changed in a week. Like, there are less demons in my lobbies, at least.
Yeah, a
And
lot
there
of
are more rangers.
so many
Right?
shivs.
The shifts, like, okay, but yeah, sure, it's going from one thing to another,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
still like you can still play different, like Shyvanas. I see way more
Yeah.
Shyvanas now, right?
Yeah.
With Warmogs and
Yeah.
Thornmill. I mean, it is different, right? It's only a week. Like, let's be honest, it changed a lot.
I mean, I think if you literally don't touch anything right now, the game will still change and people will
Yep.
still build different things. I think people are inherently poor at like what actually creates an unhealthy situation. It's kind of like probability. Like, people just don't understand probability at all, and like people love to complain. That's like a huge thing.
Yeah, that's what I do as well. I like for
like,
sure.
Like this, like, I think if they didn't touch anything, the meta would keep developing, and different builds would be good over different times, depending on what is popular. But obviously, like, I don't think that Riot putting hands on here. I think like a lot of the changes that they're making are very proactive. Although like some stuff is like weird because like it might feel like it's a week behind. Like, buffing Rangers now seems weird.
Yes.
That seems so bad.
Yeah.
I have no idea what.
Mhm.
Like, actually,
So
sorry.
something I want to say, like, just like putting on my game developer hat for a second, is that when the devs took the stance to like make the item system that they did in this game, they basically were accepting like a way larger balancing challenge than
Yes.
I think anything that exists in any
Yeah.
in any of the other auto battlers currently, right? They
For sure.
they offered abilities for players to make things cross class. They added items like RFC, which can make melee units into ranged units. So like you're getting the ability to basically like fundamentally break the game, right? So instead of taking the stance as a developer saying like, okay, we're gonna present to you what we think is good and allow you to play around with it, they're like, go ahead, break it, guys. Like, here, do a whole bunch of fucked up broken stuff, right? And when the game's first coming out, because keep in mind this game's super young. It's really, really young. Not even just from like since it was released, but even since like the first line of code was written for it. That was in 2019, right?
Yeah.
So I think when you think about the age of the game, like it was almost inevitable that right from the start there's going to be a certain number of items, a certain number of pieces that are just going to be way too strong, especially considering this like how much agency they gave the players with such like a variable, malleable item system, like especially compared to the other games in the genre. So I think over time, when they even and like smooth these things out, what I want to be keeping track of, and it'll be really interesting to see, is if the game still feels like there's only a few viable builds at any time, or if it feels like, okay, well, demons are the thing right now, or Kennon's the thing right now. When eventually they can smooth all that out and be like, okay, yeah, there was a million different balance points, and we finally adjusted all the things to the right point. Is it when we get there? Is it going to be okay? Like, it's just open season, like anything is playable or not?
I think the item system is the whole reason I got captured by this game. I think it's actually the whole reason. Like, the item system is like what sets this apart, right, from the other auto battlers. It's so complicated and it's like really fun. I think that's the very, 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 like, even though it causes tons of balance issues like APS obviously, but it's so good for the game. If it didn't exist, like maybe I'm playing Underlords right now. I don't know, but.
I mean, the good thing is like it doesn't
Underlords.
get stuck. You can always change how it works. Like I think, like, for example, though, like I think like the Locket stuff is like super overzealous. I thought Locket was in like a perfect place where it was.
Yeah.
And like I think that like some things might need more time to have sync, and like 1 week is actually just not that long. Like, I feel like there's still so much to learn all the time, and it's really weird. It changed too fast.
I think the problem why I think people hated the meta so much is not actually demons. It's just that you don't like when we're talking about the loose streaking, like dying. I think that's why people actually don't like it, and it's not going to be changed. I think the aggressive playstyle will probably be exactly the same. So they don't even touch the problem, I think, of what a lot of people have with the game right. It's not demons being strong.
Rens,
or
are you
Rangers
saying people don't like losing? Hold up. Hold the phone.
People don't like to have a chance at coming back. Let's keep it.
Yeah,
At
yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's sorry. I was just giving you shit, but that's
Yeah, I know, I know.
To like,
But I want to. Go for it.
yeah, I agree. Like, if you, I think that there does need to be a way for this game to have more of a comeback mechanism for when you low roll in the early game. Like, I feel like if I get to the first carousel and I still don't have any level 2s, like my chances of winning are just so low. In that, perhaps in DAC, like if I was in that kind of a situation, I would have more agency, at least to beat maybe not like really high skill players, but like players who are like a lower or like a lower MMR or something. It didn't really matter what roles I was getting. I could, if I was good enough, I could still win in those like lobbies. Whereas I think maybe that doesn't quite exist right now in TFT. So I think that more can be done certainly towards that direction. And the changes that they made in this patch are to like to streaking and to the amount of damage might not be far enough. They might not be far enough. But yeah, in general, I think I agree with your point though. That it's like it's just frustrating to lose.
It's so interesting though, because like the phrase that I've always used for the auto battler genre is that you want to maximize your good luck and you want to minimize your bad luck. And when you minimize your bad luck in this game, it doesn't feel like you're actually doing anything. You're just praying to RNG gods and like, can you just help me level my units up game? And then the game either says yes or no, and then you either get 5th or 8th or something. And like that's it. And that's what feels bad to me. It just feels like you don't really have an active role. You're like kind of along for the ride sometimes. And whereas I felt like it was very different in auto chess. I don't know.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
It is a new game. We should not compare it too much to auto chess because, like, 0.1% of the people playing TFT probably played DAC.
But Riot has played it.
That's true, though.
Aleco, is it a safe assumption to say that everyone on the TFT team played auto chess to some extent, or has played at least? That's a safe assumption, right?
I actually don't know if everyone or not. I know it was mostly League developers that ended up being on the TFT team.
Yeah.
I would assume that that most of them played a lot of it. And actually, the decision to start making TFT was before I joined Riot. I'm still a pretty new Rioter, but what I can say is that it was a very popular game.
Leaked was before
Riot.
May, guys.
Like just internally, like people were playing a ton of Dota auto chess inside Riot. It was a very
I'm sure the League developers were playing it because like I'm friends with some of the esports guys and they were all playing it and like they're not even on the developing side, they're like on like a completely different branch of it. And I'm like, if they're playing it, then everyone else in like at Riot's probably playing it,
Yeah.
Like that's how I even got into auto chess in the first place. Was like an esports guy was like, "Hey Phil, you heard of this game? You should try it out." And I'm like, "All right." And like here we are. So
the rest is history.
DAC Pepper Hand.
Also, when are you being not affiliated with Team Liquid anymore? When are you making Team Liquid's version of a website for this? Come on.
Yeah, like I wanted to help out with QIHL, but they're all underlords, so I literally cannot.
Oh, are they involved in underlords? Is Team Liquid involved in underlords? I didn't know that.
It's 100% underlords.
Yeah, if you go to QIHL, it's like this is 100% underlords coverage, which does tilt me slightly.
Oh yeah.
I think they're still matchmaking for DAC, but they maybe removed it as well because there was basically no lobbies. But I think the last time I looked at it, there was you could still make a lobby for.
They can make matchmaking for for the Epic one, the new Drodo PC version. It's not matchmaking yet, so they can make matchmaking for that.
From what I've heard, they have just better contacts with Valve than with Riot, so they just went for Underlord.
Is QIHL still partnered with Liquid?
Yes.
I think so. I don't know why it wouldn't be. It was like the way that the partnership.
Yeah. I think the new Aleco is working for Liquid.
Oh, I just didn't know, but I didn't know that Liquid had interest in Underlord still. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I didn't know either. But to me, like,
it feels like a lost opportunity because. Oh, I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, go ahead.
It feels like a lost opportunity because if you look at the people on Liquid, Saint Vicious and Tabs and Hyped and Dog, they're all playing TFT.
Yeah.
There's Savage is playing Underlords pretty hard, right? Like I know Savage is on the Underlords grind, but
is he on TL?
They're all TFT players, so
yeah, he's on Liquid.
Okay. Savage is on Liquid, so like 5 out of 6 people who are streaming auto battlers are streaming TFT. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean I know the the main Liquid guy is Steve. He likes TFT as well. So
Yeah, I've seen him play.
he
I've seen him playing, I
really
should
likes
say.
the game.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I know
he
Liquid
really
likes TFT. I guess
Yeah.
that was just
That's
a
kind of-
decision. They went with QAHL.
They actually hate Riot, and they're actually I know they actually hate you, and it's because you're on Riot now, and Riot makes TFT. They're just boycotting it.
It all makes sense, dude. It all makes sense.
This is
Cats out of the bag.
yeah. You left
What it
Liquid.
comes
This
down
is
to is just,
vengeance.
like, why not?
All right, I think that's a bit. I think that's good. I think we're a bit done. Thank you so much, Aleco, for coming on the show. I very much appreciate you being on here. It was
My pleasure.
a blast to have you on, hear your perspective on things that normally we would sit here and just, talk about and all agree with each other, and you're here being, voice of reason. Appreciate that.
Well, I don't agree with Pheylop ever.
Yeah. Well,
Sometimes.
yeah, this was we didn't have quite the Rens versus Pheylop today. Not quite there. Yeah, thank you so much. Aleco, is there anything you can plug? Is there anything you want to plug? Because I don't have to plug for you.
No, just play TFT. It's awesome. I love it.
Gonna plug the game.
I'm in no way biased. It's a sick game. So true story. I actually had no idea that we were even making it until my first day that I showed up here. Like I honestly had nothing to do with it. It's fucking awesome. So yeah, play that. I guess if you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at Aleco_P. But that's about it.
Do that. Yeah, awesome. Those that are on Twitch, you can find the channel in chat right now. Twitter.com/OpenFortPodcast. Thank you so much, Rens, Pheylop. Anything?
You're welcome, dude.
Yeah, I'll have a last word. I beat Rens the Master.
There
Yeah.
it
Definitely
is.
Yeah, you can have that one. You can actually have that one.
Thank
I
you
feel
all.
so bad.
Bye. See ya.
Goodbye, boys.